I don't think that any one single soccer incident has caused as much concern and media coverage. I've received probably 50 phone calls from all over the world and from all media, from everywhere, wanting my comments. I'm living in America, which is like 3,000 miles removed from it. And for it to create the stir that it's creating in the United States right now is an indication of the enormity of the problem. But also, I think there's a fear factor involved. A lot of people are afraid that this will now, because the barrier has been broken, where's the next barrier going to be? And Italy play England in the next couple of weeks, and the game has not been banned. Now that, to me, I think that's an alarming decision. How in the world you can ban club teams from playing indefinitely in Europe as English clubs, and then allow the Italy international to go on? I think that's absolutely ludicrous. Because I would tell you right now, people would die at that game. If that game goes on, people would die.
So you think that it's because of the national media bringing up the fact that this has happened and blaming it on the English, that perhaps they're going to step out and begin a riot again, or because of the fanaticism of the game? Or
we're intelligent human beings. Let's analyse the situation, if you want to. You've got a group of people living in Liverpool that are now on the front page of every newspaper in the world. They've caused deaths of 38 people. Now those kids, and they are only kids, let's face it, they're probably only 18, 19-year-old kids, the majority of them. They're now seeing their story published all over the world. In Italy, there were 6 full pages, from the front page, 6 pages in, covered the event, with photographs and interviews with different people and that. 6 full pages. It's been all over the world on TV, on the radio. Those people now in Liverpool are looking forward to the next game.
So they'll come in masses to maybe cause trouble, to be on the news, since they're in the position where they're...
Absolutely. Because you're looking at an element of people that they have no respect for human life, or obviously for human feelings. They went there to cause a riot, as I would assume, maybe assume is the wrong word, as you might imagine, the other fans went there to riot as well, because apparently the first trouble was caused by a bottle being thrown from the Italian side over to the English side. And the bottle, apparently, I mean, this is only, I don't know this, I'm just recounting what went on. Apparently hit somebody on the head, and they started throwing things backwards and forwards, and then the English stormed the wall. Now, what's going to happen when England national team plays the Italian national team? There's going to be 100,000 people there. And the first time somebody throws a bottle or makes a bad comment, I mean, the whole thing's going to fall in. I mean,
you're going to have mad Italians and mad Englishmen both probably trying to get at each other, one to get even, one to cause more exposure.
I think you're probably going to have mad Italians and sensible English people fighting.
And of course, this leads us to wonder what the effect is going to be on American soccer, the media coverage. If you can both elaborate on this.
I think the thing that's frustrating for people like ourselves that have spent our lives in the game of soccer is that certainly it's an international incident that merits attention and investigation and close investigation. But in particular, response to soccer here in America, it's frustrating in that it's the most attention soccer's gotten in the newspaper in America for a long, long time, and it's negative material. At a very bad time, because we're on the eve of the World Cup in 1986 in Mexico. All eyes around the world are on the United States possibly qualifying for the World Cup for the first time. They didn't qualify. They're disqualified from the World Cup. They lost to Costa Rica. And that's very upsetting, but the thing that is the most upsetting to people like Rodney, myself, and all the other people in the United States that put a lot of time and effort into soccer is the fact that all the attention right now is negative because of what happened in Brussels.
In fact, you've been working with the owners of the Rowdies on trying to get soccer back into America, back into the limelight, so to say. And this couldn't do any helpful.
Well, whenever you see an event of this magnitude, and I don't disagree with Moose, but I think that, let me put it this way, whenever there's an event of this magnitude, it focuses on the sport. And although it's very negative, at least now there's attention to the sport, and the fact that it does warrant world attention. And it's, as he says, it's frustrating from our standpoint that it has to be negative, but at least I think it's brought the awareness of the sport and the magnitude of the sport to the American general public of America.
So bad press is better than no press at all.
Yeah, but yeah, that's up for grabs. But prior to this, I think the American attitude overall regarding professional soccer in recent years anyway has been one of lethargy and well, it's soccer, it's not quite here yet, one day it may arrive, there's always kids playing, but it's off in the distance somewhere. And this has really brought to the attention of the American fan, or the American general sports fan, at least any general public, the enormity of this sport and what attention it commands, even though it's been a negative attention.
So the fact that we're now seeing it front page, we're at least getting some notice to the sport itself, in other words.
Yeah, and having said that, I would hate to think that the youth of America would copy what's happened, because I'm ashamed of what's happened. I'm English and I'm ashamed. It's disgraceful. And I would hate to think that we would, in America, we would copy that kind of behaviour, because it is degradant behaviour from a degradant society at this time, using the Liverpool area.
The Margaret Thatcher is now, according to the newspapers, trying to, or maybe even has by now, banned alcohol on buses. And do you think that the alcohol really had anything to do with this?
Definitely.
Maybe just building up, your nerves are up to that awareness, perhaps, or?
Well, you would have to experience it to understand it. For the people out there that have never been to a South American or European event, soccer match like this, you would have to experience it to believe it. Because in England, as an example, and I don't want to keep using England as an example, but that's what I'm most familiar with. In England, the pubs open on Saturday at 12 o'clock, and the kick-off is at 3. And what the fans do, the fans all congregate within probably a 500-yard radius of the stadium at 12 o'clock. And they go in there and they have their lunch, and they probably drink for 3 hours, majority of the fans. Because the majority of the fans are what we call terrace fans. They don't sit down, they stand. And if a stadium holds 40,000, 10,000 will be seats and 30,000 will be terraces standing up. And those fans, they go to all the pubs around the ground, and they drink from 12 to 3. Now when they get into the stadium, they're half expecting trouble. So consequently, the first incident that blows up, it could be 5 or 10 people, it could be 50, it could be 1, but it happens every week. And what occurs after that is, it's a question of what degree of violence is there. And 38 people now are dead. And what happens next? There's going to be 100 people next time, there's going to be 200 people. What exactly is it going to be? We don't know.
Okay, and we were talking earlier about this, and you didn't seem to think that the alcohol was as much of a problem as Rodney seems to point out here.
What I said was that I don't think that the alcohol is certainly one of the main factors. I think that the ingrained attitude of the people that are involved in these actions, they work all week thinking about the weekend when they're going to get together with their buddies and go to the game and look for trouble and cause trouble. And I think that with or without a belly full of beer,
You're going to find
Saturday
trouble.
night's all right for fighting, you know? And that's the attitude that they have, unfortunately.
So the beer sort of just fuels the fire that you've already got burning. In other words,
That's right, and it's cultural, as Rodney said. It's cultural to meet your friends in a pub,
spend
a
3 hours.
stone's throw from the stadium, pour out of the pub into the stadium, be arm in arm with your buddy, not sitting down, standing up, with a buzz on, and now you're rocking back and forth, and before you know it, somebody who didn't want to be rocked got rocked. And now they're pushing and shoving, and then, as Rodney said, it just depends on the degree of violence that the people have in mind.
I saw we went to England for a pre-season tour last year in April of '84, and we all went to see the semi-final between Everton and Southampton, and I could sense the players' attitude. I think they were very conscious of the violence that was going to erupt, that could have erupted. In actual fact, I don't know if you were there, were you there?
Sitting 3 seats away from him. Hell of a memory.
Great recall. 12 of the players, I think it was about 15 people went there, 12 of the players walked out of the game before the end of the game. I think as much concern with the violence, I don't know that, but at the end of the game, I stayed. At the end of the game, a goal was scored in the last minute of the game. At the end of the game, the set of fans at one end of the stadium started charging. And this fans at this end of the stadium, they got up and they met in the middle of the field on national TV. There was like 60,000 people, and both sets of fans running towards the middle of the field with knives and bottles and everything. And there was like, I think 7 people got killed that game. So the score was low that game.
So in other words, what we're talking about overall inside this certain incident is that 38 is worse than 7, because 7 people getting killed, itself is a tragedy.
Yeah, but it's become acceptable, isn't it? I mean, I'm treating this very lightly because I want to alleviate the anxiety that I'm sure we all feel. The great thing about America, in compared to Europe, is that in America we go to a sporting event, we go there 3 hours early, same as we do in Europe. But here we have a tailgate party, we throw the frisbee to each other. Yeah, it's nice conditions normally, we wear T-shirts. In England you go and you've got overcoats on and you've had a few drinks, and it lends itself to violence. Over here it lends itself to family. And that's the great thing about being in America and playing soccer here.